Guys, there's an app with over 4 million women that's literally #1 on the App Store right now. And it's designed to let anonymous users post your photo and personal information without your consent. If you think this sounds like a Black Mirror episode, you're not wrong. I'm about to break down why the T app represents everything dangerous about unregulated tech platforms, and why this should terrify anyone who cares about digital privacy and due process. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Olive Badger, and if you're new here, I usually talk about gaming and technology. And today we need to have a serious conversation about technology and how it's currently being weaponized under the guise of safety. The T app claims to protect women from dangerous men, but as someone who understands how this type of technology works and can be exploited, I feel like I need to explain why this app is fundamentally broken from both a technical and ethical standpoint. So, what exactly is the T app? It's a women-only platform where users can anonymously post photos of men they've dated or are considering dating, along with reviews and red flags or green flags or whatever color flag you prefer, right? Now think about it as kind of like Yelp, but for human beings. The app requires gender verification through AI-powered selfie analysis. And once you're in, you can search a nationwide database of men by photo or name. Yikes. Okay, there's a bunch of issues here. The app is pulling photos primarily from social media profiles and dating apps without the consent of the people in those photos. They're essentially creating a searchable database of individuals based on crowdsourced, unverified information. From a data privacy perspective, this is a nightmare. The app also offers background checks, reverse image searches, and even sex offender mapping. While these features sound legitimate, they're bundled with an anonymous review system that has zero accountability measures. So let's break down the technical issues that make this app dangerous. So first is the verification appears to be fundamentally flawed. The app claims to verify that users are women through AI photo analysis, but multiple sources confirm users have bypassed this by using photos of female friends or family members. So any security system that can be defeated by a borrowed selfie isn't actually providing security. No identity verification for the subjects are involved either. So while the app verifies posters are allegedly women, there's zero verification that the men being posted are actually who they claim to be. You could post a photo of literally anyone and claim they're someone else. This creates massive potential for mistaken identity. But also, the anonymous nature prevents accountability. There's no way to trace false information back to its source, and no meaningful appeals process for people who are falsely accused. The app claims to have a zero tolerance policy for defamatory content, but how can you moderate content when you can't verify its accuracy? Even if false information is eventually removed, there is no way to control how that information spreads before removal. Screenshots can't even be taken despite the app's claim, and information can still be shared across multiple platforms. The technical infrastructure, surprise, surprise, even encourages mob mentality. The app's design literally gamifies reputation destruction through its flag system and comment section. This isn't an accident, it's how the engagement algorithm works fundamentally. From a legal standpoint, now, full transparency, I am not an attorney, but there are attorneys who are already warning that this app creates massive liability for users. Michigan attorney William Barnwell told Fox 2 Detroit that men could have civil legal recourse for defamation if posts affect their work, family life, or reputation. He also noted that on the criminal side, this could constitute as electronic harassment or stalking. And here's what's really concerning. The app's terms of service include forced arbitration clauses that make it nearly impossible to sue the company itself. So they've essentially created a platform that enables potentially illegal activity while protecting themselves from legal consequences. The ethical problems involved here are even worse. We're talking about a system that allows anonymous accusations without evidence, creates a permanent digital record of unverified claims, operates on the assumption that the accusers are always truthful, and provides no meaningful recourse for false accusations. This is ultimately encouraging vigilante justice over proper legal channels. Real legal cases are already emerging. There are documented instances of false accusations of rape, false claims about marital status, and revenge posts from bitter ex-partners. Didn't see that one coming. One Reddit user reported seeing a post claiming he was married when he was actually divorced. Another man reportedly fell into depression after being falsely accused of some pretty nasty stuff and was subsequently turned down for multiple dates. Scary thing too is most men don't even know they're on this app. Think about that for a second. Your photo could be circulating on a platform with over 4 million users being judged and discussed by complete strangers, and you'd have no idea. There's no notification system, no opt-out mechanism, and no way to discover you're being discussed unless someone tells you or you stumble across it yourself. I have many wonderful men in my life, my husband, my dad, my brothers, my nephews, and I wouldn't want them anywhere on this app because guess what? Most men are actually good. Yeah, there's some scummy ones, but an app like this isn't actually going to help anything. It's more likely to hurt the good ones than actually solve any real problems. Ultimately, this creates a fundamental power imbalance. While users can post whatever they want anonymously, the subjects of these posts have zero agency, zero knowledge, and zero ability to respond. That's not justice. That's a digital kangaroo court. And let's talk about something nobody is discussing. This app is going to make the loneliness epidemic worse, not better. We're already living through unprecedented levels of social isolation, especially among young men. Dating apps have already gamified human connection, and now we have an app that literally gamifies reputation destruction. Not good, guys. This app will create a chilling effect on dating itself. When men know that any interaction could result in anonymous public judgment, many are going to simply opt out. And if they're already opting out, you're not giving them reasons to opt back in. I've seen posts from men saying they're avoiding dating altogether because they're terrified of ending up on an app like this. That's not creating safer dating, guys. That's just creating no dating. This even perpetuates the exact toxic dynamics it claims to solve. The app encourages women to view every man as a potential threat worthy of investigation and terrible scrutiny, rather than as a whole, complex, individual human being. This adversarial mindset makes authentic connection nearly impossible. And don't even get me started on the fact-checking problem because it's massive. How do you differentiate between legitimate safety warnings and jaded ex-partners seeking revenge? The app makes no distinction between this person was abusive and this person just wasn't interested in a second date. I've seen examples where women rated men as red flags for completely normal dating behavior, like asking why someone swiped right or ending a date early when there just wasn't a connection. One user review mentioned a woman posting her ex's number on Twitter with explicit photos and fake bio as revenge. These are the same types of users rating men on this app. The platform doesn't just enable vindictive behavior, it rewards it with attention and validation. And let's talk about the ginormous elephant in the room, okay? You could not create a male equivalent of this app. Imagine if men created an app like Rate the Box or something like that, where you could anonymously post women's photos and rate them based on appearance, dating performance, or personal behavior, it would be banned immediately and universally condemned as misogynistic harassment. But somehow, when the genders are flipped, it's suddenly labeled a safety tool. This double standard reveals that we're not actually talking about safety. We're talking about socially acceptable gender-based discrimination. The app even operates on the assumption that women are always truthful and men are always suspect. This isn't just unfair, it's factually wrong. People of all genders can lie, exaggerate, or seek revenge. Human nature does not change based on gender, but this app seems to pretend that it does. Real equity would mean accountability for all parties. If we're genuinely concerned about safety, why not create systems that require verification of claims? Why not include both perspectives in relation? Why not include both perspectives in the relationship disputes? Why not focus on actual criminal behavior rather than just subjective dating experiences? The current system treats men as guilty until proven innocent, except they can never actually prove their innocence because they don't even know they're being accused. How is that fair? Nobody is even talking about the psychological impact this could have on the men being posted. We're in the middle of a mental health crisis, particularly among young men. Suicide rates for men are already significantly higher than for women, and social isolation is a major contributing factor. Now imagine discovering that thousands of strangers have been discussing, judging, and potentially spreading false information about you online. Imagine finding out that potential dates have been pre-warned against you based on anonymous accusations you can't even address or defend against. This wouldn't be just causing depression, it would be causing men to further withdraw from society entirely. When the cost of human connection becomes potential public humiliation, many people will choose isolation. That helps nobody. And I wouldn't blame them for choosing further isolation. The app claims to make dating safer for women, but what's the point of safer dating if there's nobody left willing to date? We're creating a generation of men who view any romantic interaction as a potential reputation-destroying landmine. All right. So I talk about tech, right? So what are the tech implications here? Well, this app, I think, represents everything wrong with Silicon Valley's move fast and break things mentality. The developers built a platform that fundamentally relies on unverified, user-generated content about real people's reputation and safety, then released it to millions of users without adequate safeguards. This isn't just bad product design, it's irresponsible technology deployment. When you're building platforms that can destroy lives, you have a responsibility to implement proper verification, appeals process, and accountability measures. The T app has none of these, at least not that I can see. The app was created by Sean Cook, who claims he was inspired by his mother's bad dating experiences. While the intention might have been good intentions don't excuse poor execution when real people's lives are at stake. The tech industry has a responsibility to consider unintended consequences. We can't just build platforms that serve one demographic while completely ignoring the human cost to others. Ethical technology considers all stakeholders, not just paying customers. At least it should. We know it doesn't really work that way, but I'm going to advocate for it to be this way anyway. This app is part of a dangerous trend toward crowdsourced justice platforms that bypass legal protections and due process. We've seen this with the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook groups, which have faced multiple lawsuits for defamation and have been shut down in some regions. The T app is essentially a scalable, searchable version of these Facebook groups with all the same problems, but none of the community oversight that at least some Facebook groups attempted to implement. And what happens when this model expands? What stops someone from creating similar apps for rating coworkers, neighbors, or anyone else? We are potentially looking at a future where anyone can create a searchable record of anonymous accusations against you. We're essentially establishing a similar credit social score system that is in China right now. This sets a precedent for a society where reputation is determined by mob rule rather than facts. That's not progress. That's regression to medieval village justice with smartphone technology. And that's not a world I want to live in. So how do we actually address dating safety without creating digital vigilantism? Here are some solutions that I came up with that we could try to use to protect everyone. You'd want to focus on verifiable criminal behavior. Apps could integrate with public criminal databases and sex offender registries, information that's already public and verified. You could also implement a mutual verification system. Both parties in a dating interaction could rate each other, creating accountability for everyone involved. As unpopular as it would be, if you care enough about the safety aspect of this, you could require identity verification for serious accusations. Anonymous complaints about bad dates are one thing, but serious allegations of abuse should require real identity verification, evidence, and yes, even consequences. You'll want to create an appeals process. Anyone accused of something should have the right to respond and request review of false information with some form of correcting that information. You'll also want to include time-limited reviews. Dating opinions shouldn't follow someone forever. Maybe reviews expire after a certain period unless they involve criminal behavior. You could also try a partnership with law enforcement. For genuine safety issues, the solution should involve proper authorities, not crowdsourced vigilantism. The goal should be to create systems that increase safety without destroying due process, privacy rights, or basic human dignity. Now, obviously, this isn't an all-inclusive list. This is just some ideas that came off the top of my head. I'm sure further scrutiny could even analyze some of these and decide they're crap as well. But I want to be clear about my position. Yes, I'm defending men here, and I'm not apologizing for it. The current dating landscape is already hostile enough towards men without adding anonymous reputation destruction to the mix. Yes, women, we face real safety concerns in dating. Yes, some men are genuinely dangerous pieces of shit, but the solution to those problems is not creating a system that treats all men as guilty until proven innocent while providing zero accountability for false accusations. This app doesn't make anyone safer. It just makes some people feel safer while making others genuinely less safe. When you destroy someone's reputation anonymously, that's not safety. That's power without responsibility. We're creating a world where men are afraid to date, afraid to approach women, afraid to exist in social spaces because any interaction could result in public humiliation. That's not feminism. That's misandry disguised as safety activism. The fact that 4 million women signed up for this app in a week tells us something important. There's a real appetite for accountability in dating, but accountability has to work both ways. It has to include facts, evidence, and the right to defend yourself. As tech creators and consumers, we need to demand platforms that solve problems without creating new ones. We need solutions that protect women's safety without destroying men's dignity. The T app, as currently designed, fails the basic test of ethical technology. But what do you guys think? Am I being too harsh on an app that's trying to protect women, or do you agree that this represents a dangerous precedent for gender relations and tech platforms? I have a feeling this is going to be controversial, so let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below, but be respectful. We want to have an actual conversation here. And if you found this analysis helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe for more tech deep dives, gaming content, a little bit of news, maybe some video reviews. And remember, just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right. Just because something claims to promote safety doesn't mean it's actually safe. And just because something targets problems faced by one group doesn't justify creating new problems for another group. Real solutions protect everyone's rights and dignity. I don't feel like the T app meets those standards. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. Bye.